Welcome to the second debate between Mrs. Falasco and Mr. Spink. Mrs. Falasco, welcome. You look ready to go today.
Well, hello everyone. It looks like it's that time of year for Spink and I to have another very public discussion / clarification about his thoughts.
Do you feel prepared for this debate, Mrs. Falasco?
So I may have taken some notes again, several pages of notes based on what he shared. And I'm just going to kind of work through that same, format and all the same issues that he brought up again.
Alrighty, sounds good. We'll start with Mr. Spink.
All right, so last time we had this talk, I had this big beef about me not having a walkie-talkie with Falasco.
Oh yes, we remember the walkie-talkie debate.
I'm glad that he's moved on from the walkie-talkie.
Oh, I don't think he has, Mrs. Falasco.
And it turns out I won that one.
However, we're going to revisit that later because there are still issues with how he got that walkie-talkie and why he thinks he needs that.
Okay, let's just stay on topic for now. Mr. Spink, you said you had some other issues you wanted to address?
However, my beef with Falasco doesn't end with just the walkie-talkie. I got issues with her in multiple things. I want to start out with talking about my classroom. My classroom, I want it to be simple. I want it to be clean. I don't need lots of color. I don't need posters. I don't need things on the wall. I don't need distractions. Simple and clean. That's how I operate.
And why do you think you like it like that, Mr. Spink?
That way, when I'm teaching, kids aren't distracted. They're not looking around. They're not reading signs. They're paying attention to me. They're trying to learn what I'm giving them, right?
Okay. Makes sense. I get it. Mrs. Falasco, your thoughts?
Let's start with the classroom decor. Many of you, and especially my poor ninth graders, where you've been spared a little bit this year because you haven't had to be in his classroom every day per se. But now that you are, you're going to notice how bare and minimal his room is.
I think a lot of us have noticed that too.
Miss Falasco has this thing about rooms should be decorated. They should be inviting. They should be warm and colorful. It should be like an elementary classroom. I feel like that's just a distraction.
Mrs. Falasco, thoughts?
I know he, tries to play it off like it's an elementary thing. No, it's not. There's nothing wrong with creating an environment that's inviting and warm and where students want to be so they want to learn.
That is a very good point. So, Spink, what have you done?
So after several years of arguing about this, I went ahead and made some posters. I did some things like, what do we got here? Girls are mean, boys are dumb. It's a poster, and it's kind of a true story.
What do you mean?
Like, if you know that boys are dumb in high school and that girls are mean, it takes away all of your drama. Like, there's no girls crying, there's no fights. You already know ahead of time that girls are mean and boys are dumb. There's no reason to be upset about boys and breaking up with people. We say dumb things, we do dumb things. It's just the way it is. If we don't take that serious, then all the drama goes away.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Mrs. Falasco, what do you have to say about this?
You have mean things posted all over your room. Things that say, girls are mean, boys are dumb. Really? You're not sending a positive message. That is not nurtured heart, Spink.
But do you agree with the poster is the real question?
Not all boys are mean or girls, and not all boys are dumb or girls, right? It's such a stereotype. You can't talk like that. That is my issue, right? One of many.
Let's just stay on track with the issue first. Mr. Spink?
I got another poster over here. Too many girls give too many chances. How many of you girls gave a guy one too many chances? You took him back. You brushed things off. You pretended something didn't happen. No. Quit giving them so many chances. Boys are dumb.
Mrs. Falasco, your response to the second sign?
Your other signs that say inappropriate things. Those are negative messages that a student is reading every single day. And when they read that every single day, they might begin to think it.
Yeah, she does have a good point, Mr. Spink.
We don't peak till we're like 24 or something. So, one, don't take it too serious. And two, quit giving us so many chances, especially them cheaters, right? Because once a cheater, always a cheater.
That's facts.
We know boys don't peak until, quote, you say 24, but you know what? I'm not sure that that's even true. So we can't bring that into the classroom because it's just not appropriate.
Mr. Spink, what else would you like to add?
So, I decorated my classroom, right, with these life lessons, things that are meaningful to kids and they can apply to life. And Mrs. Falasco, she's not having it. She's angry about how my room looks now. First, she didn't like it plain. Now she doesn't like it all colorful. Like, I don't know how to please her in terms of what my room should look like.
Well, what do you think she would like to see?
I mean, it's not like I'm promoting any kind of sadness for my students. I'm not promoting any kind of anger for my students. I mean, I'm trying to encourage them, give them what they need.
Okay. Mrs. Falasco, what you got?
Let's also talk about, not promoting sadness. Spink, have you looked at your wall? Do you know what your wall says? Spink makes me cry.
Actually, I think it says Spink will make me cry, and I definitely can attest to that.
There's a cry bulletin board in your room that notes how many times you make your AP students cry.
Yeah, that is true. And Anna Reynolds is a leader last year. Her punishment was bringing in sweets for the whole class.
What do you mean you're not promoting sadness? So that's not mean?
We also need to talk about Nurtured Heart, okay? A couple years ago, Ms. Falasco has this new Nurtured Heart program. She wants all the teachers to have these set of rules or guidelines that we coach kids on and talk about giving kids compliments and fist bumps and whatnot every time they walk in the room, like building a relationship with kids, right? So that's good and all, but it's made us soft.
Mrs. Falasco, what do you think?
You go into Nurtured Heart? Oh my gosh, Spink, seriously. First of all, Nurtured Heart does not make kids soft. There's nothing wrong with finding a genuine praise for a student. And it doesn't have to be fake. It doesn't have to be insignificant. It is actually good for you, Spink, to try to find the good in someone.
Mr. Spink, thoughts?
Like, kids are breaking rules. You guys are getting away with everything. And everything's just nice and easy. But that's not how the real world is. In fact, if anything, it's allowed Miss Falasco to turn into a bully as she bullies staff and students.
That is a bold claim. Mrs. Falasco, would you like to share your thoughts?
You're accusing me of being mean and hurtful and negative and a bully, but you're like promoting making kids cry and you're bragging about who you do that to? You are so out of line, it's ridiculous.
Thank you, Mrs. Falasco. Mr. Spink, would you like to add any examples you'd like to share?
In particular, she comes after me. She argues with me about my walkie-talkie that I now have. She argues about how my room looks. She argues about the posters that I have in my room. She talks about the emails that I send you and your parents, says sometimes my tone isn't correct.
Mrs. Falasco, do you think there's anything Mr. Spink could do?
Even if it's a small thing, right? And building relationships, that's also part of being a good teacher. Because if kids respect you and if kids feel that they have a relationship with you, they're actually going to perform better. There's all kinds of research that states that, yet you fight it every single day. Heaven forbid you're nice to somebody. Again, I'm the bully, right?
Well, I didn't say that.
Even students have fallen under her wrath. Poor Michael Edwards. He just comes in here, sits in the corner, does his work. He doesn't look for issues. Falasco comes in here daily, going after him. I've even got students on my side who are trying to defend me.
I understand you brought evidence of this. Would you like to show us?
Are you in here bullying Spink again?
Thank you for sharing that, Mrs. Falasco. Would you like to respond?
This is where you misconstrue things. Because I have to correct your behavior, and because I don't tolerate you being mean, and I call you on it all the time, now I'm the bully? No, I'm the principal, and it is my job to make sure that you're doing your job. And you are mean to people. That's why I have to read your emails. That's why I have to take tone and negative things out, and things that you should just not be saying to people because it's not appropriate. You're welcome.
You sound a bit frustrated with Mr. Spink.
I would think that you would appreciate me a little bit more. That's the issue with Michael Edwards. He doesn't appreciate what he has here. So every day I have to remind him why I'm his favorite principal. There's nothing wrong with that, Spink. But oh no, you're going to dwell, make things bigger than they need to be when really, who's the bully now? And we're still going to work on nurtured heart. And you still have to get better at being nice. And please, for the love of God, stop making people cry.
That is a fair request. Mr. Spink, what would you like to see from Mrs. Falasco?
Because they know she's out of line. So this nurtured heart thing, I think it's more of a practice what you preach. Preach what you practice. Practice what you preach kind of deal. She's failing us as a leader in that, which is really just another issue of why I should be more of a assistant principal, or maybe the actual principal on multiple days.
Time out. Are you saying that you want her job?
Especially when she's out of the building. I mean, I already got my walkie-talkie.
We need to go back and revisit the walkie-talkie.
I could be out in the halls, controlling traffic, handling issues with my nurtured heart approach that she preaches, except I just do it without bullying kids.
Mrs. Falasco, this is your last chance to readdress the walkie-talkie issue.
When you have to obtain your walkie-talkie illegally and not go through the proper school channels of getting a walkie-talkie, A, issued to you, B, paid for by the school, when you get your own personal walkie-talkie to communicate with colleagues that now have a walkie-talkie, it doesn't make you official, Spink.
What do you mean by official?
You still don't have the walkie-talkie. You still don't have it. So you can have your pretend, I'm 10 years old and I have walkie-talkies with my neighborhood friends, and when we play outside, we can all communicate walkie-talkie, but you don't have the real one.
Spink, is there anything else you would like to add?
So, that's what I got.
Thank you very much, both of you. It's been a great debate. Until next time.